How's it going on, everyone? My name, of course, is Crunchy. Welcome to Review Thursday. I'm sticking with the schedule. Today's Review Thursday is going to be Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is the fourth game in the series of Uncharted games. Keep in mind, there will be absolutely no spoilers. I'm going to try to keep it as minimalistic as possible. Uncharted 4 was the fourth game in the Uncharted series that came out recently on the year 2016. Overall, it was a decent game and decent put together. Unlike most games, however, it didn't follow through with the suit of Supernatural. So if you were into the Supernatural-esque about Uncharted, sorry to say, but it's lacking in Uncharted 4. What Uncharted 4 does have, in replacement of that, is actually a decent put-together story. The story is overall great and is filled with all of the right Naughty Dog-esque feels, with being able to play the game from your childhood Crash Bandicoot is overall probably one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt. It made me feel giddy inside, and I was a toddler when Crash Bandicoot came out. Keep in mind, my childhood mostly consisted of playing the games my brother had, which included Medieval and Crash Bandicoot Warped. What makes Uncharted 4 great, however, is that this will be the final game in the series. So, does it put the series on a good note? Yeah, it actually does. Unlike most games that end the series aren't typically all that fantastic, this one is one of the greatest. In fact, I put it up there with BioShock Infinite as being one of the greatest games of all time. Well, it doesn't top what the second one was. The second one was really fantastic, and it's hard to beat the second one. The fourth one definitely is number 2 on that list. It's in front of the first one and definitely ahead of the third one. Uncharted 4 is quite possibly the greatest of the series that we could get. It's a modern version of the series. So, would I recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it? Most definitely. You see, what's great about the Uncharted series is that it's a very fun game to do. It's a combination of shooting and being able to pinpoint where the enemies are, as well as the ability to do stealth kills, be able to get decent kills. It also has puzzles incorporated in it, so if you're willing to solve those puzzles in order to get to the next part of the game, it's a very fun game for that reason, and that reason alone. However, there is a few negatives that I have about Uncharted 4 in particular. Number 1, the stealth system. A lot of the stealth system is more or less focused on tracking your enemies before they can track you. While this may be a good thing to some people, to me it was kind of tedious to try to pinpoint where exactly the enemy was in order to get to the proper area. Being able to track him was nice, but sitting there and waiting for him to separate from his group was also quite tedious and difficult. That isn't really a huge negative or a huge gripe on this particular game. Another gripe I have, which isn't really like a gripe, but keep in mind, it's my opinion. This game is really difficult when it comes to timed events. Timed events are still present, where you have to throw a grappling hook at the exact time, you have to jump on an exact ledge. One other thing, and this has been my gripe about the Uncharted series throughout the entirety of its runtime, is that you will constantly be frustrated. Because Nate can survive a clock tower falling down, or he can survive a falling apart city and gunshot wounds and flaming cars and car accidents, but he won't survive a 12-foot drop into water. That isn't really a gripe on this game in particular. It's always been a thing in the Uncharted games where you can die if you go where you're not supposed to. The game wants you to go a certain way. It's not really open world, although it may seem that way because of the huge open scenery. That's one thing that I absolutely 100% give this game. Every single level is beautiful. It is amazing to look at. It's beautiful because of what it is. It's next-gen graphics. These are the people that brought you Uncharted 2, by the way. This isn't the other group that brought you Uncharted 3. This is the same company Well, of course, it was Naughty Dog the entire time, but it's the same group of people who brought you Uncharted 2, which means it technically followed that route, which is of being, well, a great game. So that's why I think it's number 2. If there's anything that I can honestly say about this to any newcomers who are looking at a game, if you're looking at this expecting a shooter game, you would be sorely mistaken. This game is a very, very much puzzle game, first and foremost. It may show Nate in the middle of the woods holding a handgun, but the main focus of this game is puzzles. You have to solve them, you have to figure out what goes to what. So, if you're not great at puzzle-solving games, then I can imagine that you wouldn't like Uncharted. However, on the flip side, Uncharted has some of the best fighting sequences I've ever seen. It's very testosterone-filled, and the only thing that I think beats it out is Battlefield and Doom. Definitely Doom. If you're looking for a game strictly based on its shooting aspect, I would probably recommend Call of Duty, Battlefield, or Doom. However, if you're looking on a game that is actually has a great story, unlike Doom, Doom's story is kind of lackluster, then I would probably recommend this game. This game is pretty fun, it's pretty cool, and honestly, overall, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. The 0.5 is, of course, all of the negatives that I've had with the Uncharted series throughout the years. It's frustrating, the fact that Nate can survive a car accident, but he can't survive a 12-foot drop. It's just one of the many things that make the Uncharted game the Uncharted game. This is a great next-gen title, and if you're looking for a new game this Christmas and you don't have this, and you've played any of the other Uncharteds, this one I'd recommend. One thing to note, it's a PlayStation exclusive, so if you were looking into getting it for your Xbone people, you would be sorely mistaken. This game is the PlayStation. Now, keep in mind, if you have an Xbox and you want a game like this, I would probably recommend Tomb Raider. So, if you have an Xbox, Tomb Raider. And if you have a PlayStation, Uncharted. In my opinion, Uncharted's a heck of a ton better. Anyway, thank you for listening to the last 7 minutes of me rambling my opinion. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Uncharted 4 is a great game. Go out and buy it for Christmas. To all the parents out there, this game will be great for your teenage son. It is rated T, but it's friendly towards 12-year-olds. I think I played the second one when I was 12. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit that like button. If you want to see more reviews, keep in mind that this will be every single Thursday. Subscribe today and you will be able to get all of the experience of my vlogs, my stories, my discussions, my games, as well as my reviews.